closed 4, and we have 8 in escrow with EMDs in, and about 10 contract that we're marketing right now. So
yeah, incredible. Welcome everybody to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, America's #1 podcast for new real estate investors, where we know that finding discounted properties is the most proven path to financial freedom. I am your host, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, and I am telling you, if I can do this, so can you. So let's get this podcast interview kicked off in the right way. And I want to start off this podcast with 2 quotes, okay? The first quote comes from a great book that I love. It's called Self-Made in America. Very little known book, but it's called Self-Made in America. And it says, before entering into a transaction or even making a telephone call, be clear in your own mind what you're trying to accomplish. And then let me hit you with a real life quote from a TTP family member out of Baltimore, Maryland. And he says, it's crazy because I literally wrote back in April that I would close 3 deals and for a total of $30K by June 30th. I included it in my affirmations and repeated it day and night, and literally closed the deal yesterday, June 30th, 3 deals by June 30th for $31,500 total profit. Think and grow rich, exclamation, exclamation. It is my pleasure to introduce to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, Mr. Courtney Rollins. How are you? Welcome.
Oh, man.
It's exciting to have you on here.
Hey, thank you, Brent. This is amazing. This is another one of those affirmations that, hey, I will eventually be on this show if I do the steps and follow the instructions. Hopefully, eventually, maybe. So this is awesome, man. Thank you, Brent.
It is incredible, and I love that you texted me that. You had texted me, actually, there's an exercise that we don't usually talk about on this podcast that is part of the TTP program, and it goes into asking the question why to yourself 7 times. If you want to accomplish something, you answer that question, why do you want to accomplish it? And then you go 7 layers deep, and you sent it to me, and it was all you had this vision in your mind. You knew what your goals were. You knew what you had to do to get them, and you knew that you wanted to have that financial freedom, to get that freedom of schedule, to get that freedom for your family, for sharing and value, providing value, and just being an unbelievable businessman, an entrepreneur, a real estate entrepreneur. And you were so direct, and you were so you confirmed it, and you did it, man. So tell me, how does somebody become like Courtney? What's your background? How did you grow up? How did this happen?
Well, I'm from the South. I'm from Alabama. Grew up in North Carolina. And entire life, just like many people, my parents emphasized education. I mean, the classic story a lot of folks say. So, but I was always a little bit like rebellious in school. I love learning, but I really hate the monotony of education and arbitrary authority and all that. So I would always, rebel. But eventually, I found my way into the classroom. I always thought I was going to be, when I was younger, a preacher, a teacher, or an actor. And so I was exploring acting for a good part of my life. And then I would always take tutoring jobs and positions with students. And I found that, maybe education is my calling. So for the past 16 years, Brent, I've been an educator in second grade, middle school, upper school, high school. 3 years ago, I ran into my fiance, who we knew each other back in middle school. She was the big cheerleader, and I was just the nerd. I'm still a nerd, but I was the nerd. She didn't know anything, didn't think about me. But we reconnected a couple years ago, and so I'm doing all this equity work in my school, but now I'm trying to figure out how do I establish a life for my family that I'm hoping to provide for. And I realized quickly that my job just wasn't going to be able to do it, even though I love what I'm doing and I'm still currently doing. It's not going to get me where I need to go. And so, like many people, a group of friends of mine and I had started reading books together, and we came across Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant. so many books that just kept on going back to real estate. And it was just like a bug and bit me back maybe last year or around at the end of, just 2018 in December. And so then I started learning in January, and I learned just enough to get myself in trouble. And I started doing direct mail. And I actually we picked up 2 properties from there. But instead of wholesaling them, because I have no money, I'm an educator. Instead of wholesaling, we held on to them using other people's money. But I was like the dog who chased the car and caught the car. Now I'm like, holy crap, what do I do with these properties? And flipping and managing that is completely different from that hunt and talking to people and locking things up, which I seem to have a affinity towards. So I decided this year, let me just pull back, let me slow down, and let me just hyper focus. I was following like Max Maxwell and all those great guys in that free education out of there. And then this hyper dude came on Max Maxwell's show talking about TTP, talk to people. And he just was like full of energy. And I was like, well, I could dig that. I dig that guy. So I saw you on there.
Yep.
And that took me over to Wholesaling Inc. And I was just YouTube, just still snatching up all the strategy from you all, but I wasn't gaining as much traction. I was actually getting properties under contract, but just not being able to perform on them as like I wanted to. And then I decided, let me just join the tribe. And it made in April, and that made just a world of difference. The confidence, the community, the specific strategies.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So sorry, long story short, that's how I'm here now. So I'm still growing, still learning, and have so much that I'm just wet behind the ears, ready to soak it up and apply.
I love it. And you got out fast. I mean, you knew you were going to get out fast. You wrote it down. You told me you were going to get out fast. You told me that, hey, listen, in 90 days, I'm going to be on the podcast. I'm going to be going. I'm going to be talking about getting deals. I'm going to be going. And you absolutely, I mean, you did it. I mean, none of that happens unless you take the action. Anybody can get on YouTube University or University when you're driving around in your car or whatever, listening to great things. And I highly encourage that. But until you take that step to take action, before you start crossing that bridge of you having faith that you can do this, to you actually taking action and making it a fact, there's a big bridge there. There's a big difference. I mean, 97% of people will never do anything. You're part of that 3%. You did it, and you're an inspiration. You truly are. So how do you balance your schedule? You're a teacher. You're a real estate investor. You've got a logo. You've got a polo. You've got your cold calling. You're getting deals. You've got your holding property. Like, how do you manage your schedule so that you don't go crazy and burn out? How do you make this sustainable?
One, teamwork makes the dream work. And my fiance, like, she's just an amazing person. So she's like I'm like just shooting out the gates. I'll build the bridge as I go. She's like that roadblock or that's necessary to help me slow down a little bit. I was diagnosed 3 years ago with ADHD, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because it was like, okay, now I understand so much about myself. And I would tell my friends, hey, did you guys know that, I was diagnosed with ADHD? Yeah, of course, Courtney. Yeah,
we know.
Yeah, we knew that, Mr. Random Cunningham. But regardless, once I started like following the blueprint of people around me, if you have ADHD and you have systems in place, or that's really anything, take ADHD out. You have systems in place, you're able to replicate and get things done at a faster rate than if you're just going without a plan. So I think it was just having a plan and having systems and having that I sit help. So I heard someone from your podcast talk about hunting and gathering.
Yep.
And I don't mean to diminish what's happening with COVID and everything, but I'm at home now. So I have the opportunity to spend the first 3 hours in the morning cold calling. I go for lunch and I drive for dollars and I get at least 50 properties. And then I come back, and anything that's in my CRM that I'm supposed to follow up, I religiously follow up on that day. And that's pretty much the day. And so because of the numbers that you all have encouraged me to track, I've been able to recognize, okay, how many calls do I need to make a day? How many yeses and maybes do I need a day? And that's going to turn into a contract that's going to turn into a deal. So I just have a set schedule. I just use those tools and don't divert from them.
So go back to April. You joined the TTP family. You're getting ready. You got a list. You got the numbers. You're getting ready to press go. Were you just like, hey, listen, I'm a teacher. I can handle anything. I can talk to anybody. I've been doing this forever. Like, this isn't a problem. Or were you nervous? Or how was that first, like hour of making calls to your distress list. How did that go? Can you go back in time and kind of remember what that felt like?
Well, I think it's a yes to all of that. I was nervous as ever. I have an acting performing background, so I would try to get into the zone and rehearse and practice, and that was very helpful. But in the day, I still say this. I'm like, I'm not going to stop this person or my nerves from creating the life I need or want for my family. So I mean, like especially on follow-ups, I almost talk myself out of making follow-ups, but I'm like, wait a second. You're put this in your brain. Call them, make this happen, and so many often I've been surprised by I would have never expected this person to have this type of conversation with me, but so I just try to just do it, man. And I was nervous, but still, it's not going to stop me from building what I need to build for my family.
Love it. And if you guys are just listening to this podcast, you can definitely check out the video interview as well on the Brent Daniels YouTube channel. So you can put a voice with a face or a face with a voice. It's always good. And it's exciting. So now you're starting to build momentum. When you started, did you have that headset that you're wearing? Were you ready? Was that like your uniform? Was that like your, you know what I mean, that you put on and now you're like, okay, now it's calling time. Now it's time to like really get in there. Or were you just like speakerphone?
Yeah, I had my speakerphone. I had these, actually a version of these. I probably bought these like 3 or 4 times and they faded out and I thought I was getting some noise reduction stuff, but man, just like you said, massive and perfect action. I just was doing it, and as I would pick up tips, like one thing I didn't realize that I should have my Mojo dialer on a three ring dialer as opposed to one. So I'm just sitting there like, man, this is taking a while, but stuff like that just helped accelerate it. But I just like even now I don't really have an office. We have plans to grow, but we're balling on a budget and making it work and making it happen and all. So
you got to keep the money. You know what I mean? This is for you. This is for the family. This is for your future wife, your fiance. You know what I mean? This is for your guys' life together. You want to keep the money. You don't need to throw it away at all these things that the distressed property owners don't care. Here's the thing that people don't really understand. People think that you have to have the website. You have to have Yelp reviews. You have to have Google reviews. You have to have a logo and business card and all these things when you're getting started. You don't. Listen, what that seller's concerned about is whether or not you can solve their problem. And if they're going too deep, well, give me some testimonials from people that you've worked with before. Listen, they're not going to do business with you. They're going to end up hiring a real estate agent and putting it on the market, or they're going to re-rent it out. Okay. So if you're going through some of these things and you're feeling nervous, oh no, I don't have a proof of funds. Oh no, I don't have, I don't know all of the contract language. Stop it. What our job is to help people that are in distress get out of that situation. You do that by being likable. You do that by your certainty in your process and what you can do for them. And you do that by communicating with them effectively and helping them out. I'm telling you, if you communicate effectively with a distressed property owner, you will get Christmas cards, you will get thank you cards, you will get a hug at closing. Even if you make $10, $15, $27,000 on a deal, they're so fortunate that you helped them out. So I know that you know all this, but it's just, it's an exciting business. It's literally a life-changing business, and you're doing it. I mean, you took action, you went for it, and you were not. I mean, you're just blowing out of the gates, and it's an inspiration for anybody. You're a teacher. You're not supposed to be making 30 grand in 3 months, and doing it part time, and doing it during one of the craziest times in our country, in our world, right? But you're doing it, and it's an inspiration. It truly is.
Yeah, thanks, brother.
So let's break down a deal. Let's sink our teeth into a deal.
Awesome. All right, cool. Absolutely. Yeah, so I guess we'll talk about the bigger one that I recently picked up. It comes from Driving for Dollars. And actually, it was a lead that I thought I secured back in actually March. However, you talk about confidence and certainty. I think that one of my gifts is connecting with people. I can connect very well.
100%.
However, one of the issues here was I wasn't exuding certainty with the seller. So I had spoken with him. We had great rapport, went to the appointment, thought I was locking it up. and he went with someone else. And so when I went to ask for feedback, he said, yeah, I just, this guy seemed like he was going to be able to pull the trigger or do it. I was like, wait, I could have done it, but I guess I wasn't demonstrating that enough. So I kept him in my, follow-ups, So 2 months later, goodbye, I call him. And this time have my TTP, drippings and everything. So I'm able to step in and just say, hey, wanted to see if that contract you were able to perform on it. It was open. I said, hey, I would love to step in. And I just gave him the number and he accepted right there because we had that relationship, that rapport. I knew it was a smoking hot deal. I put it out to my buyers, have a ton of people biting, and was able to lock it up 2 days later with I still held a inspection period, and the woman gave me the EMD right there. What's interesting is people were, because I was ushering it. I don't have a transaction manager, so I was ushering it through the closing, and the seller said that several people were calling him because I kept the address on the contract, but he said, hey, he's going with me. He doesn't care if who's presenting what offer, he's going to stick with me. So I was pretty happy with that.
So first of all, when you were building your Driving for Dollars list, are you using an app or are you just writing it down and doing the research?
Oh, Deal Machine, my man. Yes, sir.
Deal Machine.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Deal Machine, guys. If you want the biggest discount, the tribe gets the biggest discount. Use TTP as a coupon code. Deal Machine is a Driving for Dollars app. It gives you like all the information. Not to do an ad here on it, but it's a great. Check it out. Dealmachine.com. You got it. So you put it into Deal Machine. How many properties are you adding to that? And do you feel like the Driving for Dollars list is one of the better lists that you're calling?
For me, it is. Again, I put 50 a day. I know some people put way more, but I put 50 a day, Monday through Saturday, and I'm able to convert those. I'm picking up about 21 to 22 yeses or maybes a week, which is, for me, has worked and translated into contracts and also, I actually pulled from PropStream once, and I think I had a pretty good go with it. I have to go back and look at the numbers, but everything is coming from Driving for Dollars. We've closed 4, and we have 8 in escrow with EMDs in, and about 10 contract that we're marketing right now. So
incredible. Well, and I'm telling you, 80% of people's first deals come from Driving for Dollars. I'm telling you, the first deal that I did, 50 deals that I did were Driving for Dollars. You know what I mean? It's powerful. So anybody listening to this for the first time, maybe this is your first time even seeing or listening to this, building up your Driving for Dollars list is a must because it is instantly showing you that this property is in distress. It's in physical condition distress. So, these are the opportunities that we're looking for. And typically the worse they are, the more spread there is because the seller just wants to get rid of it and a buyer wants to buy it and completely renovate it. And they have that's how they get their big spreads, flippers. So the uglier it is, the better. So definitely go after and start building your Driving for Dollars list today. So that you can start going after those properties. So you have your Driving for Dollars list, you skip trace it, you put it in your dialer, you're pressing go, you call them up, and or was this something else? Did you get a hold of this person back in March? Was it a cold call?
It was a cold call. Still a cold call. Yep.
And the deal fell out.
And it fell out, and I was there. It was in my CRM to just keep following up. Yeah, I love following. Following up is just key. It's just crucial. Everything is come from follow-up for me.
100%. And most people, Courtney, and most people would have been like, no, I'm not messing with that deal. He's got an offer. It's probably somebody that's really experienced and way better than I am. I'm just getting going, blah, 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 blah. But nope, that doesn't enter your mind. You're like, no, I just love lead follow-up. I'm just going to call them until they tell me not to.
Well, I'll say, Brett, it does enter my mind. It does, but I just don't let it stop me. I'm like, hey, I hear you. I see you there. But guess what? There's another part of me that wants it even more. I'm going to go get it. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. So, what'd you lock it up for? And what'd you sell it for?
I locked it up for 51. And I put it. I sold it for 78. Yes, 78. So 78.
And you netted how? And you assigned it?
I signed it. Yep. So I signed it.
And real quick, you assigned it. How many cash buyers are you working with right now?
Well, this is another that's another interesting story. So my cash buyers list is pretty anemic but what I've been able to do, not for this deal actually, but what I was able to do is connect with a really big player in town. Shout out to Ultra Investment Group. They are awesome. They're like a disposition team. So I'm able to focus on marketing and acquisitions. And I put a lot of my deals and leads over there. So many of the ones that are in escrow now, I have to say, UIG, you guys are awesome over there. But this particular one came from my, my follow-ups, my leads, my buyers. So I used my MailChimp and sent out. I had about 350 lists of buyers that I've, acquired over the last 40, 50, but I don't have strong relationships with all of them. So I mean, how many are strong? I wouldn't be able to say exactly. But anyways, one of the gentlemen was able to pick it up. Funny story is he happens to be someone that I've become friends with through real estate investing. And he asked me as the buyer, how much are you making on this deal? Yeah. And something in my spidey sense was like, maybe I shouldn't say this, but we become friends. So I told him, oh, Brent, he wasn't as happy as I thought he would be, as I've heard some stories told. But he actually, after a while, he kept looking at the numbers. He actually congratulated me. Recently, he just called me up and said, hey, man, please keep sharing these deals. And I hope you get to make a ton more off of me because the numbers work. But initially, he was like, whoa.
It's so funny. When I was first starting out, I sold to the same 3 buyers every single time, right? And they would complain. They would be like, oh, can I get some off? It's a little bit, this and that and whatever else. And then I'd see after they got the deal and when they fixed and flipped it or sold it or wholesaled it to somebody else, they had these big, huge spreads. And I'm like, wait a second. You just complained that I made 22,000 and you just made 47,000. No. No more complaining. I have the best deals. You know it. Don't beat me up on price or I'm going to sell it to somebody else. And that's how it's been. And that's what took me from going from an average of $12,000 a deal to over $27,000 a deal was one. Is that what is that?
Oh, I think it's my puppy. He's excited about that. You like that, doggy? That's right, man. Let's follow it. Yeah.
27,000. No, but it was because of the buyer base. It was because I was able to expand and work with some companies similar to what you're working with that are disposition that have huge buyer bases. And that's what's really important is building that up. But I highly suggest you start the process of getting deals first and rocking and rolling. So
yes, sir.
Yeah. So what does it look like now? I mean, so first of all, you netted how much?
27. The bell is there. That's awesome, man. I can't believe that's actually for me. That's awesome, Britt.
$27,000 from one phone call, guys. I mean, it starts with the seed that you plant on that first conversation. Quality conversations with distressed property owners is the key. The dog knows it. Courtney knows it. I know it. People around the country that are winning understand that you win by having consistent quality conversations with distressed property owners. Once they're in your world, you latch onto them until they tell you or until you pre-qualify them out or they tell you to leave them alone. And that's exactly what Courtney did. And it turned into a $27,000 deal. Absolutely incredible. How many deals do you have going right now?
There's 8 in escrow that we're trying to get across the board. So that's great. Again, shout out to UIG and just being consistent. And we have 10 that under contract that we're marketing. And then, of course, our pipeline's filling up. When I get off this phone, I have several phone calls to make and follow-ups to do. So we're trying to keep it going, trying to stay consistent. It'll work if you do.
It'll work if you do. That's 100% right. So what do you see? What do you think? I mean, you've already you pulled out your crystal ball before and was like, I'm going to make 30 grand in 90 days. Boom. So you're pulling out the crystal ball. How long are you going to stay teaching? Are you going to go to this full time? What do you think?
Depends on who's listening to this podcast at this time. If any of my school's listening, I'm there with you all day. No, yes. I have a set date and time, and I've been pretty transparent with them as well.
Sure.
By January 18th, I'll be in the financial and mental position to leave and roll the park school, be able to pick up 2 more cold callers. I think so we have our plan. So by January, hoping to go to expand to 2 cold callers, and then I'll actually leave my role at the end of June. I want to make sure the position's in a good space and not just, leave the school.
Of course.
So by next June, I'll be doing this full time, but we have our numbers we want to hit, our profit margins that we want to hit, and really stuff that you guys are encouraging us to read, like Profit First and Traction, which I'll say both of those books are probably a little bit ahead of where I am right now with my business, but it is awesome to be able to see, okay, right now I've set up my accounts. Yeah. Right now that my fiance and I are literally going through, we're like our own traction consultants, we set up our org chart and all the things that books and people out there in front of us that are encouraging us to do. We're attempting to do it, just copy and paste. And it's been working so far. It's hard work, but it's so simple.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Sure.
So we have our plans. It's gonna happen. It makes me, careful what you ask for, because the mind is a powerful thing. And if you put the time and energy into it, it will happen. So. Yeah.
Well, it truly is. I mean, this has been said since, since great books have been written, but you become what you think about. You become what you think about all the time. You know what I mean? And that's something that I saw the power in you early on. You went for it and you did it, and it's exciting. I mean, it's just exciting to see you just blow up in this business. So, how do people get a hold of you? How do people reach out to you? They want to say congratulations. They want to learn more about you. Maybe joint venture in Baltimore. How do they get a hold of you?
Sure. Well, you can follow me on. You can send me an email at Courtney@aquateamproperties.com. So Aqua, like the color blue, team, basketballproperties.com. And you can on Instagram at @aquateam_properties. Or if you want to find my personal page, you can go at King Court Rolls, KING Court COURT Rolls ROLLINS. And yeah, please feel free to reach out. I'm figuring this out just like everyone else, and I love working with people. That's one thing I also say. Shanita and I are trying to surround ourselves with positive, high-achieving, like-minded people. So it's a great journey. That's what great TTP. Yeah, TTP gives me that community. Amazing people in there. Yeah, I don't even start dropping names because I'll forget someone.
Yeah. No, it is. It's a phenomenal community.
It is.
It's incredible. So, give somebody another resource. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's something that helps you out, inspires you, gets you, has really planted a seed in you. So some kind of resource. Can you refer to the audience?
Well, I'll do 2 quick things. One is the classic Think and Grow Rich. I mean, that's just really has helped me really just take intention and put it into, a plan that's going to lead to, reality manifesting. The other thing I would suggest hounding in on maybe 1 or 2 voices. There's so much noise out there. There's so many. Like when I first got started that first year, I was listening to Bigger Pockets, and so every other day I had a new strategy that I was doing. Yeah. But then I said, okay. Let me focus on wholesaling. It led me to Max Maxwell, led me to Brent, and to you, and to Wholesaling Inc. And I just said, okay, I'm just Wholesaling Inc. I'm just listening to one voice now. That has been just the game changer, I believe.
I love it. Well, congratulations. You called your shot, and then you walked. You did it. I mean, you did it. I mean, you absolutely went forward and you crushed it. And I'm so incredibly happy for you. And it's just the start. You're building the momentum. You've got 8 deals going. You're crazy. You're absolutely on fire. So, and if you're listening to this, guys, and you're interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing with Courtney, with me, it is the TTP family. Go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP. That's wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Check it out. Scroll down. Check out all the testimonials. Check out what it's about. If it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call. It's either going to be with me or my right-hand guy, and we look forward to talking to you, and I look forward to working with you personally. So, Courtney, thank you so much for getting on here and inspiring people that are starting out, that you can do this business. You can do this when you have a love and passion for another job, but you know that financially it's not going to get you where you want to go or what your goals are. But if you set your goals and you take action and you are intentional, just like the quote from the beginning of this podcast, you will win. You'll win big, and you're going to be standing there at the top with Courtney. Courtney, thank you so much for being on here. And for everybody out there listening, as always, I encourage you to talk to people. Until next time, love you guys.